listening to the Rip Jersey Podcast with James D. Jackson.
Hello and welcome again to the Rip Jersey Podcast. I'm your host, James D. Jackson. And I want to get right into it. There were so many great football games yesterday. The Eagles are now 4-0. Jalen Hurts leads them to another win. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they go off and get another win over Tampa Bay to take down Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. But the game that everybody seems to be talking about is the Buffalo Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens, where we got two MVP candidates going at it. Obviously, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen taking the field, two of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the league. And Josh Allen finished 19-36 for 213 yards, one touchdown and one INT. He also ran the ball 11 times for 70 yards and one touchdown. Lamar Jackson, on the other hand, 20 for 29 for 144 yards, one touchdown and two interceptions, while carrying the ball 11 times for 73 yards and zero touchdowns. It was a great matchup in the sense that they still were able to produce a highly entertaining game. And we can jump right into the end of this game, and we'll go back to the beginning later on. But I want to jump to the end because of how much people are talking about this one, and because of the decision that the Ravens head coach Harbaugh made to go for it on fourth down at the 2-yard line. And initially, when I was watching this play out live, I was watching the game downstairs with my wife, watching this game, and I'm thinking, why in the world are they lining up to go for it without just taking the points late in the game, taking an easy field goal, which would be a chip shot from the 2-yard line? Why not just take it? And I waited to make this podcast because I wanted to see what Harbaugh's reaction to it was. What was his reasoning behind his decision? And I think he made a little sense for why he did this. I think now that after listening to why he did it, I think his decision wasn't poor, as I initially thought, and most of the social media world thinks. I think it's not, like I said, it's not poor, but it's not the greatest as well. His thought process is if we don't get it, we get the Buffalo Bills offense inside of the 5-yard line, most likely at the 2 or 1, because we're going to move forward or stay where we're at. We're not going to get sacked. So you're thinking that you're going to get that offense. If you don't score, it'll be a tie game, 4 minutes left. You're going to get the Bills offense at the 1 or 2 yard line. Now, if the Bills get in that situation, they got to be very conservative. They don't have a lot of things that they can do with their offense backed up against the end zone like that. Not a lot of teams in the NFL do, let alone the Buffalo Bills. You're gonna get a very conservative offense. An offense is gonna have to try to run the ball because you typically don't throw the ball much from that part of the field, which is where the Buffalo Bills are so dangerous. Is where they can throw the ball and hit all of their receivers, and that opens up the game for Josh Allen to run down the field and make big plays with his legs as well. So you think you're going to get that situation. However, instead of running the ball or something of that nature, the Ravens elect to go to a pass play, which in hindsight didn't look as great, but when you go back and look at the film, the receiver that Lamar Jackson wanted to go to was wide open in the corner of the end zone, back of the corner of the end zone. Now, because of the pressure that the Buffalo Bills were able to get on him, he was forced deep out of the pocket, forced many yards away from the line of scrimmage, and he was forced to throw the ball later than he wanted to. And so, because he threw it so late, that led to Jordan Poyer getting his second interception of the game because he was able to read where Lamar Jackson was running to because he was rolling to his right. So that obviously means the defense is going to shift, mirror Lamar Jackson. So he was already headed that way, and he got a second interception. Now, because they got the interception, everything that the Ravens wanted to do if they didn't score goes out the window because now he got the interception. Poyer got the interception in the back of the end zone. So it's a touchback. So now the Buffalo Bills get the ball at the 20-yard line. And now you have to really deal with everything that the Bills have to offer as an offense. Now, in the second half, because the Baltimore Ravens eventually got up to 20-3 lead late in that second quarter before, the Bills were able to actually make a score heading into halftime. You see that this offense, because the Bills were able to come all the way back from that deficit to tie the game late in the fourth quarter, you see that your defense can't stop the Buffalo Bills as of at that point in the game. You see that you can't stop them. So now that you got to really go at them against their best, their full playbook, it changes everything about the decision that Harbaugh made. Now the decision looks really, really bad because all the Bills have to do is get a field goal. Now, he initially made the decision because he didn't want the Bills to be a 4-down offense, which when you're against the end zone, if you don't get the first down and you're at the 10-yard line or 9-yard line, you're not going to go for it on fourth down. I know the Bills have gone for it a lot this season on fourth down. If you get to that point of the field, you're not going to go for it on fourth down because there's just too many things that can go wrong. And because it's a tie game, there's no reason for them to, try to score a touchdown at that point. They can take it to overtime. But now they're at the 20-yard line. They got the full playbook. They got Josh Allen, who's on fire at this point in the game. You got to stop Diggs. You got to stop the other receivers. The Ravens are unable to do that. And that's just on a 3-down system. Because the Bills don't have to go for it on fourth down in this situation. But because it's a 20-yard line, they get the full playbook. They didn't even have to get to that point to where they had to go for it on fourth down. They were able to just run an offense the way that they usually are. It's not a 2-minute offense either because there's 4 minutes left. There's so much time to get down the field. And the Bills took full advantage of that. And the way that they moved the ball showed you why Harbaugh even thought he knew that they couldn't stop the Bills at this point in the game. The Bills could have scored a touchdown on this final drive. They just elected to kick the field goal because it was just the easiest option. Now, they got all the way down to the 1 or 2 yard line and kicked the field goal, which ultimately won the game in the final second. But it just shows why Harbaugh made his decision. And I think too many people aren't seeing the full extent of his decision. Like I said, his decision wasn't, it wasn't a poor decision at the time, but it wasn't the greatest decision. The greatest decision obviously is to take the points because you kick the field goal. The Bills, they have an opportunity to go down the field and score. They can kick the field goal to tie it, or they can score with win it with a touchdown. But, things happen. Fumbles happen. Interceptions happen. It happened earlier in the game where Marlon Humphrey got an interception against Josh Allen in the first quarter. Things like turnovers happen all the time that you put your game in the hands of your defense. In Harbaugh's situation, he put the game in the hands of his MVP caliber quarterback who had more touchdowns by himself than most NFL franchises this season. That doesn't seem like a bad bet going with Lamar Jackson at the 2 yard line to get a touchdown. He's done it so much this season, and it worked out a lot for the Ravens throughout the game. They go for it on fourth down a lot with Lamar Jackson, and it worked out pretty well for them in their favor. So hindsight is 2020. Obviously, we all know it was a poor decision now. Obviously, and it hurt that they threw an interception, but that's the gist of it. And I think that's what most people need to look at. Obviously, want to give props to the Buffalo Bills for making that remarkable comeback to come back from 20-3 and win this game. It just shows why so many people have the Buffalo Bills as the number one team and had them as the number one team coming into the season as the best odds to win the Super Bowl. This game right here will be looked back at if they win the Super Bowl by one of those games that really showed that they are one of the grittiest teams that can come back from anything, and you can never fully count them out as things go on. But I just want to point that out, and it was a great game. It was an entertaining game nonetheless. Sometimes when these quarterbacks and these big-time matchups go against each other, they end up being a dud. This was very entertaining, and that's all you can ask for in this situation. Thanks for watching this video. If you made it this far, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, I have a podcast called Rip Jersey. Follow that, add it to your playlist, listen to it wherever you can. Thanks for watching again.